Feeling different. Feeling different doesn't mean feeling superior. It just means that early on, you realized you didn't quite fit. While other kids followed the script, you were questioning it. You asked deeper questions, noticed things others didn't, and often felt slightly out of sync. Conversations felt off. Interests didn't always line up. You didn't know how to explain what you saw or why, just that most people didn't seem to see it. So you adjusted. You held some thoughts back. You laughed along, nodded, played along, not to lie, but to make things easier. You started editing yourself without thinking about it, and over time, that version of you, the quieter, simpler version, became the one most people knew. Not because you were hiding, but because being fully yourself started to feel like extra work, too detailed, too intense, too different. At some point, it became easier to observe than to engage, to listen rather than explain. You weren't disconnected, just constantly monitoring how much of yourself to share. And when you did open up, it often felt like people didn't quite meet you where you were, making you wonder if it was worth trying again. So instead of connection, you learned to blend in out of habit. And once that habit took hold, it shaped how you showed up in every room forever. Chronic boredom. Chronic boredom shows up when your mind keeps searching for something more interesting than what's in front of you. Classes, chores, or conversations can feel slow, even when you're trying to pay attention. You may drift into daydreams, switching between ideas just to stay awake mentally. Routine tasks feel heavier than they should, and you often look for shortcuts or extra stimulation to keep your focus alive. Some people seem fine with repetition, but you feel restless the moment things stop challenging you. This kind of boredom isn't about laziness. It's the feeling of being stuck in low gear when your thoughts want to move faster. Masking. Masking begins when you notice that your real thoughts or reactions don't match the tone of the room, so you adjust yourself to fit in. You laugh at things you don't find funny, simplify ideas that feel natural to you, or hold back questions that might seem unusual. Over time, you get good at acting normal, matching the pace and style of the people around you. It becomes a habit, speaking softer, thinking shorter, blending in instead of standing out. Others may see you as easygoing or agreeable, while inside you're constantly editing what you show. Masking feels safe, but it also creates a version of you that only partly exists. Social disconnection. Social disconnection appears when you feel present in a group but somehow not fully part of it. You follow the conversation, yet your thoughts drift in directions no one else seems to take. Small talk can feel like acting, so you stay quiet to avoid standing out or over-explaining yourself. You might care about people, but still feel slightly outside the circle, as if everyone else got instructions you never received. Even in friendly settings, there's a sense of observing rather than belonging. It's not loneliness exactly, more like being tuned to a frequency others don't notice, leaving you half connected and half apart. Overthinking. Overthinking starts when your mind adds layers that no one else sees. A small comment, a short message, or a simple choice turns into a mental maze. You replay conversations, analyze tone, and imagine what someone really meant, even if nothing was actually wrong. You picture outcomes, risks, misunderstandings, and regrets before anything even happens. It feels like you're preparing, staying ahead, but really, you're just exhausting yourself. The thoughts loop until you're too tired to act. Even simple decisions get delayed while your brain plays out every version of what could go wrong. Over time, you hesitate more. You speak less. You lose confidence in things you used to do easily. What started as caution becomes self-doubt. The mind that could build anything ends up stuck solving problems that don't exist. Analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis appears when every choice seems to split into 10 more, each with its own consequences. You compare options, rethink them, and then rethink the rethinking until the decision feels impossible to start. Even simple tasks become strangely heavy because you're busy predicting outcomes instead of acting. You might open a project, plan the steps, and then close it again because the plan still doesn't feel right. People around you move on quickly while you're stuck in the planning stage, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. It's a slow, quiet freeze that looks like hesitation, but feels like being trapped in your own caution. Perfectionism. Perfectionism shows up when your work never feels quite finished. Even after you've put in plenty of effort, you rewrite, adjust, and tweak long after most people would have called it done. A small mistake can make the whole project feel off, pushing you to start over just to get it right. You often avoid new tasks unless you're confident you can do them well from the start, which makes beginning harder than it needs to be. Compliments don't land easily because you're already focused on what could be smoother or clearer. It's an ongoing push towards standards no one else expects, but you hold yourself to anyway. Your expectations don't make the process easier. They just shift your goal every time you reach it. You hope that getting it perfect will finally feel satisfying, but it usually just gives you a brief break before you look for the next thing to fix. You spend more time reviewing than creating, checking tiny details that most people would never notice. Perfectionism doesn't make you better. It just makes you afraid to be seen at anything less than your best. Imposter Syndrome. Imposter syndrome appears when your achievements feel like accidents. You succeed, but it feels like a glitch. You're praised, but you quietly wonder if they'd still admire you if they knew the full story. You remember every flaw, shortcut, or hesitation, and assume others would see it too if they looked closer. Even when you're prepared and capable, your brain whispers that you're not. You compare yourself to others constantly, convinced they understand things faster or handle life better. You assume their confidence is real and yours is borrowed. So you downplay your wins. You hold back your best ideas. You avoid opportunities because you're afraid the next one will expose you. It's not humility. It's fear dressed as modesty. You're not faking it. You're just refusing to believe you're enough, even when all the evidence says you are. Emotional intensity. Emotional intensity shows up when your feelings react faster and louder than you expect, even in ordinary situations. A small comment can sting more than it should, while a kind moment can move you in a way others don't seem to understand. You notice shifts in tone, expression, and atmosphere quickly, and your body responds before you can explain why. Excitement can feel electric, but stress can hit just as hard, leaving you overwhelmed without a clear reason. Other people may see you as dramatic or sensitive, even though you're just processing more signals at once. It's like living with the volume turned up, even when everyone else hears things quietly. Over time, you learn to hold yourself back in certain situations, not because your feelings are wrong, but because they arrive before you have time to hide them. You care deeply, react deeply, and remember deeply, and sometimes that intensity becomes both your strength and the thing you struggle to control. Burnout. Burnout begins when you've been pushing for so long that your mind stops responding the way it used to. Tasks that once felt light now feel like moving through wet cement. Even simple plans take more energy than you have. You wake up tired, operate on autopilot, and struggle to care about things you used to enjoy. Your motivation fades slowly, replaced by a fog of frustration and numbness that you can't explain to anyone. You look fine on the outside, productive, polite, composed, but inside, everything feels dimmed, like the light's still on but no one's home. Nothing is technically wrong, and that's what makes it worse. If you liked this video, make sure to watch these two and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next.